Welcome to Cosmic Conversations, the podcast where spirituality meets real life. I'm Siobhan, your host, aka the Cosmic Coach, and this is a space where we are going to explore the layers of what make us truly who we are. There's going to be a series of solo episodes along with some incredible guests, a space where we can truly discuss the universe within us all. Welcome to part 2 of my conversation with Rachel O'Shea, where we talk all things astrology and zodiac signs. If you haven't listened to part 1, be sure to go back and listen to it. We talk about the fundamentals of what astrology is, to how to break down your birth chart and understand your sign. So be sure to go back and listen to that one and enjoy today's episode. Next sign brings us on to Sagittarius.
Yeah, so Sagittarius is a mutable fire sign ruled by Jupiter. So generally Sagittariuses are quite optimistic. There is a stereotype that Sagittariuses are like the traveler of the zodiac, that they love to travel. I do notice it more with Sagittarius risings than Sagittarius suns, because again it is like your whole birth chart. Like, say if you're a fourth house Sagittarius sun, the fourth house rules your home, like your motherland, home, family. So you're going to be more inclined to be with more of a home board, say, than wanting to go and travel and stuff. So you really do have to obviously factor in your whole birth chart. But in general, Sagittariuses do love an adventure, and they love trying new things because of that mutable energy that I was talking about. They can be quite honest and blunt. They'll just say things as it is. They are quite direct, have this no nonsense approach. They love learning new things as well, because Jupiter is the planet of teaching and knowledge, and so obviously they love to learn, and when they learn things they love to pass on that knowledge to other people. So Jupiter
always know everything about everyone as well.
So Jupiter is like the teacher in astrology. So I think that Jupiter is just like our Sagittarius like to expand their horizons, where kind of the travel then will come into it, or just expand their knowledge in any means possible, I suppose. They do enjoy that bit more change in their life, because they are a mutable sign. They like to have a variety, keep that momentum and pace up, rather than being stuck in a mundane, dull routine. But then that being said, if you are a Cancer rising, then your Sagittarius is going to be the 6th house of productivity and routine. So then if you're a 6th house, 7, do you know what I mean? So then you're going to be well, so again, this is me just trying to be so
pinch of salt with everything.
So again with Sagittarius is they just love to expand, because Jupiter is expansion, and expansion can be negative or positive. So sometimes maybe Sagittarius can go a bit too far in what they say or do sometimes, and that kind of comes back to that being blunt and honest thing. But they're very funny as well. I think they're really fun. I actually love Sagittariuses.
Give me life to party vibes.
But that's where the Jupiter maybe can go a bit too far then sometimes. But they like to seek knowledge, they like to seek truth, pass it on. They love an adventure. Lively, optimistic. I think they're sorry, what were you gonna say?
My son was due to be a Sagittarius, but he was born as a Scorpio, and I wonder obviously we'll get back to the signs now, but do you think that's, see, as a very woo-woo person, I'm that's the soul contract, he was meant to be a Scorpio in this life.
I agree.
He's not sad, even though he's on the cusp, he's not sad. He's very observant.
And when you say the cusp, I want to actually talk about that. That is not a thing. So this is where this is where the exact time of birth comes into it, because I've had people reach out to me or I've seen on social media, or like friends have like I'll get a voice note from my friend and they'll be like with someone and they'll be like, oh, this person doesn't know if they're like a Taurus or a Gemini because they were born on the 20th of May or like the 21st of May, which is like the border
Okay.
cusp of Taurus and Gemini season. But you can't be two signs at the same time. Like it doesn't make sense. You are only one sun sign, and that's where your exact time of birth comes into it. Um, like yeah, once you calculate your thing, your exact time of birth, you calculate your chart. Like if you put in the 20th of May 2000, say at like 5 a.m., it'll either be like, because it's different every year. So this is
Mhm.
where the confusion comes from, because if you type into Google what are the dates for Gemini season, one website will tell you the 20th of May to the 21st of June. You click to the second link and that website will tell you the 21st of May to the 20th of June. Like all the websites will
Mm,
give you different ones because every year it is different because it depends on the movement of the sun. Does that
okay.
make sense? So
Yeah.
like it will differ every single year, give a day or two. But then some years it'll be the same, you know.
Hmm.
So it does depend. So there's no such thing as a cusp. Like you're not both a Cancer
There's
and
no
a
such thing
Leo.
as a cusp, you guys.
Yeah, so like yeah, know your exact time of birth and you'll be able to calculate it and you'll see that you're very much like if you were born like a couple of hours or minutes before or after you probably would have been one or other, but like you're meant to be who you are, I suppose. Like
Yeah.
there'll be people that are like a 29-degree Cancer sun and then that's so interesting with twins actually because there could be one twin that's a 29-degree Cancer and then if you're on like the border of the seasons or whatever, and another twin is born like an hour later or something, which like does happen. Some twins are born hours apart. That twin could be like a 1 degree Leo sun, and that's completely different, you know. And
Wow. Yeah.
especially their risings will definitely be different. The sun signs being different is like really interesting. So I'd actually love to do like a study case on that or something.
That would be so.
But
Yeah, you need to find a set of twins that are born
yeah,
at midnight.
but yeah, it varies every single
You know
year
what is so
because of
cool as well? Sorry for like
the
interrupting,
movement of the sun. Yeah,
but like New Year's as well. Like that, like twins could have a different birth
mm,
year.
yeah,
That just
yeah.
blows my.
It's so cool. It's
Yeah.
so interesting. But yeah, cusps are not a thing. And like for
Okay.
anyone that's listening to this and they're like, okay, she says they're not a thing, but why do I relate to both? Like why do I relate to both Taurus and Gemini? Well, because they're next to each other on the zodiac wheel. So if you calculate and it turns out you are a Gemini sun, like you probably have a Taurus Mercury or a Taurus Venus or Taurus Mars or something, and one
Mhm.
of those could be your chart ruler. So like that's why you might relate to both because you know when people are like, oh, this horoscopes that you read at the back of the magazine, like they're so generic, like you could read all 12 of them and you could pick up something
Pick
for
up
them. Well,
something. Yeah.
of course, because it's a form of entertainment. It's like um
Yeah.
those magazines are like the TikTok of like long ago. Do you know what I mean? That was like
Yeah.
their clickbait to like reel and draw you in, and they kept it general, like on
Yeah.
purpose. Because yeah, and also you're meant to read your rising sign by your for your horoscope. So like for you, you probably grew up reading like Gemini, but you're actually meant to read Aries rising.
Okay.
It's way more accurate, and a real horoscope will be not general. Like if I were to do one for you, like, and if I gave you all 12, you would relate to your rising sign because I read them all because I have like subscriptions to like
Yeah.
really experienced astrologers and like I'll know it off my head anyway, like, oh, Jupiter's going to or Mars is going to that sign, so this
Oh
will be
wow. So
happening, blah
you
blah
kind
blah
of
blah.
know already what the vibe will be for each rising.
Yeah, because it's all
Mhm.
like repeated. Like Mars stays in a sign for about 6 weeks. So like right now, Mars is in Scorpio, if I stand corrected. Anyway, so I'll know next Mars will be in Sagittarius, and that will move into whatever house in my birth chart, and I'll know the themes for that. Like, does that make
Ah,
sense?
yeah,
So
yeah,
when I read all, because I'm like reading them for my friends as well, and I'll be sending them on. I'm like, oh my God, this is like so accurate for you this month or whatever, or for this like week or whatever, and I'll read most of them, and I'm like, this isn't happening to me, that doesn't align for, like, it's only like because they're done properly by and they're not like, they're paragraphs long, they're not like four
So
sentences
this is
that.
like taking into account your entire birth chart.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's not generic like the ones you see in the back of magazines, and it literally like drives me insane that that's why people don't believe in
Yes. Yeah.
astrology, but I'm just like,
Yeah.
that's wrong,
That's not
you know?
astrology, guys. It's entertainment.
Yeah, clickbait.
Yeah.
But yeah, cusps aren't a thing.
Cause starting to think, okay, he was meant to be a Scorpio then. He's
Yeah,
very
definitely.
Scorpio.
And if anyone is listening to this and they're like, because there's always people that were born on like the 20th or the 21st, 22nd maybe of every month. If you are unsure which one you are, like, message me on Instagram and I will clarify for you and I will explain, because
Oh,
I
girl,
need to
I think you're gonna
debunk that.
message us after this.
That would be unreal, but I want to like debunk that myth so
Mhm.
badly that like
I
I'm
think
on the
I didn't
cusp
even
of
know that
like,
that wasn't a thing. I'm gonna now.
yeah,
Cusp.
yeah,
Anytime someone says it now, I'll be like, actually.
yeah, actually,
um, I love that though. So after Sag, then we have
Capricorn.
Capricorn. Yeah, my brother. Okay. Money
Uh,
driven, career driven. That's all I really think of Capricorns.
yeah, that is a stereotype as well, and it is true for like some Capricorns, but like not all. So like Capricorn is a cardinal earth sign ruled by Saturn. So we have our first Saturn ruled sign now. And obviously the stereotypes of like the earth signs being, practical and dependable, hardworking, like that is true for Capricorn. And then the cardinal energy of them being good leaders, which we do see a lot of, like um you know people in the corporate world, I feel like managers or whatever being, or like even entrepreneurs as well being Capricorns. So that do be true. So they do have good initiative and self-starters, like all that kind of thing. But like them being ruled by Saturn. So when we were talking about Saturn in part one,
Yeah.
like the themes of Saturn is like, disciplined and like hardworking, trials and tribulations, obstacles, challenges. So like Capricorns do have that thrown at them, especially if you're a Capricorn rising. You might have had like a lot of like maybe setbacks or delays in your life, but it instills like that worth ethic in you and that drive and that ambition to like, maybe I feel like a lot of Capricorns feel like they have to constantly prove themselves. They're very, very hard on themselves. I have noticed that a lot. And like they're so like hardworking and they're very smart in their own way as well. And then they'll be the ones to like work so hard consistently and be disciplined, because that is the nature of Saturn. And then they'll still be like, I'm gonna like not like present this project well. I'm gonna fail this exam, and then they'll come out and they'll ace it. And I'm like, that
Yeah.
is like the almost that tough nature of Saturn, because sometimes
Yeah.
Saturn, because
They're
it's like
hard on
a
themselves. Yeah.
very, very hard on themselves, and it's like they don't have that like belief in themselves. So like if you're a Capricorn, please believe in
You're
yourself, and like
amazing.
you're amazing, you're resourceful, and like there's this stereotype of Capricorns as well, that they're cold hearted and that they're
I
like,
think like yeah, so I don't know. In my experience, they're more like reserved, as in like you don't really know what they're thinking or feeling. But obviously, then when you really
especially with
get
the risings, they can be
yeah,
reserved at the beginning, yeah.
but then when you get to
um
know them and love them, it's like they're like yeah, it's obviously
yeah, they're very like, they're really funny in like a dry, sarcastic,
yeah,
blunt humor kind of way, because a lot of Capricorns then will have Sagittarius in their chart. And like this whole stereotype of them being cold hearted is literally so untrue. They're so dependable, so like, so when they commit to something, they will commit all in. Like they
Mhm.
will not be flaky about it. When it, like, it's obviously up to them what they want to like commit
Yeah,
to, but like they'll be very like protective and like, yeah, like my mom is a Capricorn and she is like, she's more of a Cancer written on paper. Like if I were to describe her, I was like, someone, well, guess what sign she is? Someone would probably say like a water sign. She's so caring. Like, she's a great
yeah,
mom, but like she's a double Capricorn. She's loads of Capricorn
wow,
in her chart, and literally not cold at all. She's so affectionate. Like she's the opposite of what, but that I don't know her rising sign because I don't know what time she was born, unfortunately. But like it would probably be to do with the house that her sun and moon are in as well. That would bring out that as well. But like this whole notion that Capricorns are like just like boring as well. I feel people say, I've seen that online. That's not true at all. That they're just a bit like serious. I think Capricorn risings can come off as serious when you first meet them, but as you said, that's just because they're just maybe a bit reserved and they're just they just take a while to maybe warm up. But like in my head, Capricorns are like the builders of things because their zodiac animal would be like the mountain goat, so they're constantly climbing and working towards a goal. That's why they're so ambitious and like that. And again, on social media, I feel like that's always portrayed through, you know, the corporate ladder, working through that. But like not every not every Capricorn is an accountant or a corporate manager, you know. Some of them just, there's Capricorns in every single industry, like every other zodiac sign. It's not actually do with your sun sign. There's a whole different thing for your career in astrology with your like 10th house and like all that. But what was I saying? But like they can build something else. They can build like their own business. It's not necessarily that they're in the corporate world. They can build a family. They can build something physical. Capricorns are actually quite creative in their own way as well. Again, depends on the rest of their chart. Like if you have a 5th house Capricorn, that means they're a Virgo rising. So they would actually be quite creative. I would say like the 5th house is the house of creativity. So like, yeah, it's not just justice for Capricorns, justice for all the zodiac signs that
Capricorns, you're welcome here.
Yeah, you know. But the thing with Capricorns is that when you achieve something, sit with it and acknowledge your achievement, because otherwise, like I feel like I have a few like Capricorn placement friends, like not always like suns as well, but like risings or whatever, and they're very hard on themselves, as we were saying. But I think when they achieve something, they don't really like they don't really give themselves the pat on the back, and then they're like moving on to the next thing because they're like the next goal and they're so ambitious and they're, you know. But then if you think about it, it's like the mountain is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it never stops and never stops growing. So like
look back at
just,
how far you
yeah, exactly, and that's such a thing with Saturn as well, because yeah, it can just be like, and I think they're so, maybe when they were younger, they were maybe used to some setbacks or knockbacks. They feel like they have to constantly prove themselves, but like, who are you proving yourself to? Is it everybody else or yourself? And it always is like themselves, you know. But yeah, justice for Capricorns. I love Capricorns. I think they get a bad rep, and like if you, again, you could be a Capricorn sun and the whole rest, you could have like a Leo moon, Sagittarius, Mercury, Mars, Venus. You're going to be fun, and like a Gemini rising or something like that's fun. You know what I mean? You're not going to be
someone that's like boom, 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 all the same sign.
Yes, that's called a stellium. So when you have 3 or more signs in the one, or 3 or more planets in the one, or placements, because obviously the sun and moon aren't planets. 3 or more placements in the one zodiac sign is called a stellium. So it's kind of like that concentrated energy, and just that sign would just be a big theme, and obviously in the same house in your life. I've seen someone that has I would say like 5 or 6 in the one. Yeah.
So they're like your like hard copy, like
stereotypical of that zodiac sign. Yeah.
Wow.
And stelliums aren't rare. Like they're like rare maybe with 5 or 6, but like a lot of people, because the sun, Mercury and Venus aren't far away from the sun. Like that's just science. Like if you look at the solar system, Mercury and Venus are like near the sun, and then Mars is next. It's a bit further back, and then Jupiter, and then Saturn, and that's why Saturn moves so slowly through the signs, because it's the furthest from the sun and from Earth. So yeah, and that makes sense with how they move through each sign. So Mercury and Venus would move roughly like a month through each zodiac sign, and then Mars would, because it's that bit further out from Mercury and Venus, would take about 6 weeks. Jupiter takes a year to transit, and then
Saturn is
Saturn,
29.
well, of the whole zodiac, from each zodiac, it's
Okay, okay.
2.5 years. Yeah,
2.5
yeah.
years just around the sun.
I don't know about the astronomy part. I do need to do like a course to like understand the science of it, but yeah.
Confusing though, isn't it? Like so much, even you talking about how like where the planets are, I'm like, how does she even know that? Like I know you learned that in school, but I'm like, oh my God.
But like
Um,
that's all I do need to like understand
that's
astronomy
astronomy.
more,
Yeah.
because I feel like it'll make more sense when I'm talking about astrology to the people who are more logical minded. Because it's so funny when like people who are very like, I need to see things to believe things. I'm more of a scientific mind, which
Mhm.
amazing, like that's great. Not like saying anything about that in a bad way or whatever, but it's always interesting to me when they just like they just can't grasp astrology. And a few of my good friends are like doing science,
Mhm.
and it always interests oh sorry it always interests me that they they believe it, even though scientifically
Yeah.
people say astrology isn't real, but it is.
Astrology is real, you guys.
Yes, very much, whether people like it or not. I think after 5 years of studying pretty much every day, I would, especially in the last 3 years, I would be like learning and researching astrology every day. I would have figured it out by now if it wasn't
Yeah.
real,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
Like tracking my own life is like enough. No mind
Proof.
tracking like
Yeah.
my friends and my family with their permission, obviously, like, you know what I mean? And like the amount of readings I've done for people, and like my favorite thing is when I'm traveling and I'm meeting people for the first time, and within like 5 minutes I'm like, what time are you born? And then I pull up their chart and I'm like, okay, what happened to you in this date? And like what's your thing with your dad? Like he's not like in your life, is he? And then they're like, how the fuck do you know? Sorry, now I don't know if I'm meant to swear.
It's okay.
um and one example that was when I was in Guatemala in the spring, and me and one of the girls, it was just the two of us, and we were doing a quiz in the hostel, and two women just like came to our table and like joined us, like had never seen them before. One actually turned out to be Irish and one was American. And literally, I'd say the quiz hadn't even started, and I asked them what time they were born, and they both knew it. And I literally was like to one of them, like, what happened December 2019, like something along that. And she was like, literally had the worst breakup of my life. Like, how did you know that? And then I went to the other one and said like dates for her. I can't even remember. And she was talking about like personal stuff that happened to her. And I'm like, to people who don't believe in astrology, how can you explain that?
How
Like
can you
I
do that? Yeah.
and like we literally just did the quiz and went our separate ways. I haven't seen them since. Like that all happened in the space of an hour, and I was able to tell them
Oh
deep
my God.
things about them and their lives. And they were literally like, one of them was like quite into spirituality, and the other one was looking at me as if I had 10 heads. But yeah,
Yeah.
and I've done that like a lot when I'm
Like,
traveling.
like
Like
astrology falls into that spirituality bracket, but it is actually a science.
I honestly think so. Like I'd be like doing maths and everything with all the degrees and the angles.
Yeah.
Like there's so much like to astrology. It's like science, it's maths, it's psychology, like so much to it.
Yeah, it really is. I
Um
know we digressed a little bit there. But
yeah, I'm so bad for that. So
Aquarius,
Aquarius is next. So and like obviously I could literally spend an hour talking about all the signs, like I we're really just like going through
brushing the
them.
surface.
Yeah,
Aquarius to me are like free thinker,
yeah.
confrontational,
Um they can
challenge.
be quite stubborn because they're a fixed sign. So like maybe I think that's
Yeah,
yeah, that could be depend on their Mars. I think your Mars is like your
yeah.
um how you
Aquarius
defend and depict.
what I would say. Quirky.
Yeah, unique. So
Yeah.
Aquarius is a fixed air sign ruled by Saturn. So Capricorn and Aquarius are the only ones that are ruled by Saturn. And in modern astrology, they will say that Aquarius is ruled by Uranus and Pisces is ruled by Neptune, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. But Pluto isn't a planet, it's a dwarf planet.
Yeah.
And in ancient astrology, um, Uranus and Neptune weren't discovered yet by scientists or NASA or whatever. So they don't, ancient astrology doesn't account for Neptune, Pluto, and Uranus.
Okay.
In case anyone's like into astrology and she's like, well, I always thought that Aquarius was ruled by Uranus. Um, yeah, just to like clear that up because they're so far out that they're yeah, they don't like affect us or something. But I'm open-minded to Uranus and um
I'm sorry, that
Neptune.
sentence.
Open, oh yeah.
I mean, a fucking immature bit. I'm open-minded to Uranus.
Yeah, so
I'm sorry.
no, don't be sorry, it's okay.
Gemini in me.
Yeah, I should probably I pronounce it very literally. Other people when I hear them speak like pronounce that
Uranus?
word,
Yeah.
yeah, I just anyway. So just to clear that up, yeah, this is why astrology is like a bit complicated. But oh yeah, so Aquarius is like unique, they're unconventional, they are stubborn in their own way because they are a fixed sign. But them being an air sign, it's kind of like they like to connect. So the air signs like to connect, okay? Libras and Geminis like to connect with people and learn things, but Aquarius is like to connect and bring people together, like in a community. And a lot of people, I think that Aquarius is a water sign because of its symbol, but it's not. Aquarius is an air sign, so the symbol is like
The
two
squid.
waves,
Yeah.
and yeah, on top of each other. So the symbol is called water bearer because it's past. So the water represents information or knowledge, which is like an air thing, you know, learning and communication or whatever. And because Aquarius is so like knowledgeable and it's the second last sign of the zodiac, they're passing on the information to Pisces, which is
Mhm.
the last zodiac sign. So that's where that
Ah.
comes from. Aquarius is very much an air sign. Like they're quite aloof as well. And like because Capricorn and Aquarius are both ruled by Saturn, they can be serious as well in their own way, but then again it just depends on the whole like everything else in your chart.
Mhm.
But like Aquariuses can be quite like eccentric. They can be quite rebellious because they like their freedom and independence. They don't like being told what to do. Like they're very much like marching to the beat of their own drum. Like Aquarius is one of my favorite signs.
Mhm.
Um, and like they're just like my advice to Aquarius is like don't try to fit in a box because you're not meant to be there. You're meant to be doing your own thing.
Mhm.
And like back to the thing with like community and thing, so like Aquarius is very much about like um you know bringing community together. So they're very much can be interested in humanitarian causes, um humanitarianism, social causes,
Mhm.
politics even. But
Mhm.
like not every Aquarius again is going to be like that, and I think you grow into that because I think of some of the Aquariuses that I know, and they maybe have studied themes like that in college. Maybe they're really into it now in their 20s, like those kind of things.
Mhm.
Again, you just grow into your sun sign. And again, Aquariuses are really innovative as well. They have that kind of like,
Entrepreneurial spirit, like.
yeah. So that's why like Aquariuses, like for their careers, they can literally be anything from like, you know, social care workers to an engineer. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, they like to learn like an air sign, pass on the knowledge. They're a bit eccentric and like unique. They just follow their own path. I really, really like Aquariuses. They're just a bit like they're really different.
Yeah, they are.
Um,
I always find like what you said, like they almost like think outside the box or something.
yeah, they do. They have a different way of doing things, and like it's there's like the saying that they're like the alien of the zodiac, and like if you're listening to this and you're Aquarius, you might be like, oh, I don't like. I think that's a compliment. Like, why would you want to be like everyone else? Like, you're
Yeah.
meant to stand out. Aquariuses, like, they stand out. Like, when I think of Aquariuses, they're very like in my life, like they are Aquariuses that I know, like they're different in their own way, and then they sometimes can feel like a black sheep,
Mm-hmm.
and like the more you suppress your Aquarius energy, like I think the more maybe awkward or it like just don't force it down. Like do be your own person, be your own thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And yeah, there's Aquariuses that I can think of that like growing into themselves, do you know?
Yeah.
Like or even ones that I like see online and stuff. But yeah, then we have Pisces. Pisces is the last zodiac sign, the 12th zodiac sign. So um like there's kind of like this thing that Pisces have like this old soul kind of that they're kind of quite mature for their age because they are, and that doesn't mean that they're mature in every single area of their life or the most mature person ever, but they do have this air of maturity or old soul about them, and sometimes I feel like Pisces feel like they don't always fit in either. But yeah, so they've learned. It's kind of like this thing that they've learned, like from all the other 11 zodiacs.
Yeah.
So Pisces is a mutable water sign ruled by Jupiter. So again, the water traits of being compassionate, empathetic, intuitive, emotional, and then the mutable energy of like maybe not finishing things that you have started,
Mm-hmm.
versatile, variety of interests, flexible, adaptable, all those things. And then being ruled by Jupiter is kind of like Pisces are good at looking at the bigger picture, the opposite to Virgo. So it's kind of like going with the flow and trusting your intuition is really important for Pisces placements. And because they're so compassionate, they just be careful of who you show and give your compassion to, because people can take advantage of your kind, generous, like innocent heart, I suppose.
Yeah.
And um Pisces can be quite like forgiving. Now again, that depends on the rest of your chart, but Pisces, the archetype itself, it's kind of like similar to Virgo because they're sister signs. So they're going to be opposite, but they're going to be similar in some ways, all the sister signs. The Virgo Pisces axis interests me so much, but it's kind of like, again, sacrificing yourself and like making sure that you're not forgiving people too much,
Mm-hmm.
that you like lose yourself or
Yeah.
lose your way, or you get,
What you
because
stand
I think,
for. Yeah.
yeah, so like the thing with Pisces as well is like being careful of having escapism tendencies. Now, whether that's just like, you know, in your little fantasy world of like reading your books or movies or TV shows that you just like dissociate from reality just to have your little comfort thing, that's fine. But then it's like the extremes of like maybe escapisms through alcohol or drugs,
Mm-hmm.
or like any other escapism tendencies to just like remind yourself to stay like in reality, if that
Yeah.
makes sense, and
Yeah.
not to extend forgiveness and compassion to people who don't deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
But like Pisces can be very creative,
I'm just gonna say that.
as well. And like, yeah, their imagination and creativity and fantasies, um, is what like fuels their creativity, I think, as well. Um, but yeah, yeah, really listen to your intuition and your gut with things, and not to like, I suppose, get carried away with things.
Yeah.
Boundaries. Oh my God, boundaries is such a big thing with Pisces as well. Know when to like, again, stop helping and saving people. Know when to, yeah, boundaries in relationships, all that stuff. Like if I see like a Pisces sun in the seventh house, that's like the one of the first things I would say, like a Virgo rising with a Pisces sun. Um, and I've done some readings for those people, and they have very much related to that. So like losing yourself in relationships would be like a theme for people with their sun in the seventh house. But
Okay.
like that's going off. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is the 12 signs. It's interesting, like the whole past life thing. And I wonder, like, I was thinking actually when you were talking, it's interesting that you mentioned past lives. Like, is there a way, like, this is going to sound woo woo again, because I know astrology is like facts, it's what's in front of you. And I know I asked a question about intuition earlier because I was wondering, like, intuitively, would you pick up, like, they're definitely this rising, like, just by the way they're going on, like, would you be like,
Well, yeah, but that's more, I don't think that's intuition. I think that's more of like my experience and my knowledge. Like that when I say I know all my friends' rising signs, and then I'll meet someone that looks kind of like them, and I'm like, okay, are they Cancer rising? Are they a Gemini rising? Are they a
yeah,
Sagittarius rising? Because I know some of the traits for said
quality?
rising signs, and then it's kind of like I can see, and then I know the kind of like, yeah, I've gotten pretty good at guessing people. Like it mightn't be their sun sign. I might, it might be your moon, or like it might be your rising. Like they'll be like, yeah, that is it in my chart, because it kind of depends on how that person is utilizing
Mhm.
and expressing their chart and how it like manifests, I suppose.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
because like some days I feel like I'm like very much my Cancer, and then in all the situations, other parts of my chart can come out because we're not just one way all the time, and we're not the same type of person to everybody. Like you, but not in a bad way. Like you're going to be
hmm
one way in work, but not, you know, not in an extreme
yeah,
way, but like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, because we're multifaceted people. We're human beings. We're not just like we're multi-layered,
Yeah,
um, very complex, you know, and I think that's, illustrated by the birth chart.
yeah. I'm like thinking here. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Akashic Records. Have you heard of that?
No.
So the Akashic Records is like basically like a soul library, or your past life soul contracts. But in my head, I'm like, I wonder could you go and find out like your past zodiac signs, like what your past chart
Oh,
placements.
past regression. Sorry. Yes, I
Like,
have heard of that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, um, I just think that that would be so interesting to know like what was I in the last life, and
Yeah,
because me, I connect everything. Like I'm like,
me
do you
too.
know what I mean? I'm connecting it to what I resonate to. Um, but it's just so interesting to think about, and like that's the thing I'm asking like about like intuition, because obviously like there's qualities and traits, and you're like, right, based off of how they greeted me and the conversation we're having, I'm gonna guess this. But like for me, if I'm doing an angel card reading, which is not tarot, not astrology, sometimes I'll get a feel for the person's energy, and I'll say, I feel like you're a water sign, I feel like you could be a Cancer, or I feel like you could be a Leo. But that's based off of the traits in my brain that I
Yeah,
understand, that I feel from the reading or from their energy, and then they're a lot of time like, yeah, or oh, I'm that rising. Do you know what I mean? So it's just
yeah,
so interesting to me how, although it's like factual, like our intuition can open up. And I imagine like you are using your intuition a lot, my girl. Although you were reading charts, like, you know what I mean? You're listening to your intuition to even follow that calling in the first place,
yeah.
you
That's
know?
very true. Very true.
Um,
Because I never thought that I would end up doing readings and posting TikToks. Like my friends were telling me for ages to post TikToks, and I was like, I am never going to do that. I said, absolutely not. I said, people can be so horrible on TikTok. It's not like Instagram, like
yeah,
trolls or whatever. I said, absolutely not. And look at me now, you know?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
like, just
exactly.
never say never. So I definitely followed my intuition very slowly on it, like, because
Yeah,
it's been like 5 years in the making since I um first got into astrology. But yeah, it's mad to think about.
yeah. I love that though. Um, I wanted to ask you, okay, about Mercury in retrograde. What is it? Why does everybody freak out? What's going on with the planets? Why is Mercury in the microwave?
Mercury in the microwave or Freddy in the microwave. That's what my coworkers say to me. So first of all, Mercury is not the only planet that goes retrograde. It's just the one that everyone talks about because it goes retrograde the most often, or most frequently. So it goes retrograde about 3 or 4 times a year. I think three. We had a retrograde in March. And March was like such a crazy time because we had a Mercury retrograde, we had a Venus retrograde, and we had eclipses. The amount of people that told me they had a breakup in March is crazy. March and April.
Oh my God,
Um,
I'm just thinking back to them
like,
for me
yeah,
as you're saying that.
crazy. crazy time. And you're in Aries rising, and it was in Aries, and then it went back into Pisces. Yeah.
Girl, my
And
life
the
got flipped on its head.
and that is what the eclipses do, because the eclipses were in Pisces and Virgo, and then Aries and Libra. So it was wrapping up the eclipses in Aries and Libra, because now we're in the eclipses for Pisces and Virgo. Then we had a second Mercury retrograde in end of July, August in Leo, and that was just in Leo. And now we have a Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. It just went official today, but the pre-shadow was happening since like the end of October. And then on the 19th, I think, of November, it will go into Scorpio. So sometimes a Mercury retrograde will just be in one sign, because there's 30 degrees in each zodiac. And if the retrograde starts at like 28 degrees, it's going to be moving backwards. But it's not saying that the actual planet Mercury is moving backward. It is an optical illusion from Earth, and that's why it affects us, because it's like things are going backwards. Communication is miscommunication, technology is glitching, and it's breaking down, like all these things. So like Mercury can be retrograde, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, the moon, the sun and the moon can't be retrograde. Like that's not a thing. So like when Mercury is the planet, you need to like define like what each planet is. So the planet Mercury represents communication, your intellect, your mind, your thoughts, technology, transportation, like anything. So like decision making, because that's to do
Yeah.
with your thoughts and your mind, and like learning and like all those things. So when it goes retrograde, it's basically everything with like the R word in front of it. So we're revising things, we're revisiting, we are refining things, we are in retrospect, we are, and then like introspecting, like we're nostalgic, we're like thinking of the past, and then like it's a good time to just like slow down and like think about your next step. So it's good time for like planning, and like revising like what you like, say if you're in a business, or like you're not sure what your next career move is, you're in a bit of a limbo stage, whatever house Sagittarius and Scorpio are in your chart is where you will see the themes of the Mercury retrograde. And every single person has all 12 zodiac signs in their birth chart. You just mightn't have planets in them, but the house themes will still manifest for you. Now, it won't affect everyone. It kind of like just depends on the degrees of the planets and the degrees of your houses. So not everyone will feel this. Just like not everyone will feel every new moon, full moon, and eclipse. And so that's why the degrees are really important in astrology. And then like there can be miscommunication, there can be just like thinking without speaking, impulsive decisions, because and then people from your past, like this like stereotype that like your ex is going to come back during Mercury retrograde. Like that, first of all, is just like clickbait. Second of all, it's getting people's hopes up, and it's not going to affect every single rising sign. So if the Mercury retrograde is happening in one of your love houses, or in maybe like your 12th house, because like that is to do with like the past and to do with like closure and like things, or your first house of self, like maybe it is possible. But then it's not just about you, it's about them as well. So the Mercury retrograde would also have to affect them.
Yes.
So that's something very niche. Not every single, like say for example, Taurus risings, the Mercury retrograde is going to happen in their 7th house of relationships, but not every Taurus rising is going to hear from an ex. Do you know what I mean? It completely depends. And it mightn't even be an ex. It could be an old friend. It could be an old worker. And it mightn't even be like, hey, I miss you, or hey, let's be friends, or let's get back together. It could be just that you see them for the first time in your local town or city, just like randomly. You're like, oh, geez, haven't seen them in ages. They could just pop up. Or like Mercury retrogrades are a good time for like reunions, because it's like revisiting things from the past. And then to do with like technology, they can just be technology destruction. So like people's phones breaking, your headphones not working randomly, um
Absolutely.
appliances in your house breaking, your dishwasher could break, your washing machine, like the kettle could just, the microwave, like literally, like I
Yeah.
know that sounds crazy, but it's
No,
all
it for real does.
technology.
And I
And
think if people actually pay attention to when we're in a Mercury retrograde, they will notice. Like
yeah,
that's one thing that I really notice is like my technology, my phone, even like some of the technical difficulties we've had, like
yeah,
this stuff happening. I'm like, oh my god, it's Mercury.
yeah. And it's like, again, I've been researching and tracking astrology for 5 years now. 5 by 3 is 15. So that's 15 Mercury retrogrades that I've been like actively being aware and noticing. Okay, and it's not to say that technology doesn't go wrong or break in other times of the year,
Mhm.
like obviously not, but it's just
Amplified.
heightened. There's
Yeah.
a lot more of it. And if you know the themes of Mercury retrograde, you can't unsee it. If you work in a workplace, you will notice more miscommunication. People won't be able to understand instructions as
Instruction.
easily. There'll be lots of mistakes and mishaps. You'll be fixing other people's problems that went wrong. You
Yeah.
could mess up. Spills and breakages and accident proneness is like very much a Mercury retrograde as well. Just being clumsy, like spilling things, breaking things.
Mhm.
Yeah, just being accident prone. Also, because Mercury rules transportation, so that is where like travel delays come into it. But it's like your character breakdown, your like engine can break on the way to work. You could get into a little bit of a car incident, like touch
Mhm.
wood, but like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um, you could be at an airport and there's cancellations. Like there's literally massive air control and flight cancellation problem in the US at the moment
I've
since
seen that actually.
Merc
Yeah, a family member was like stuck over there with delays, and we're in the shadow period, weren't we? Of
for the last couple of weeks. Yeah, so it lasts longer than people think, but it's not something to fear monger. Do you know what I mean? It is the time to just slow down,
oh yeah.
and you will be reflection. How to have I not said that word yet? It's a big time for reflection. What do I want? What do I need? What are my next steps? So that you can properly plan, and then when Mercury retrograde period is over, you can properly execute it. Because sometimes things are not picked up upon picked upon whatever during Mercury retrograde. Like if you're signing a contract, you might not read the fine print and miss things, or like if you're ordering something online, you could put in the wrong details, you could press the wrong quantity. If you're booking flights, you could book the wrong dates. But like that's not to say not to live your life and not to buy anything online or to book your flight during Mercury retrograde. Me and my family booked a holiday literally like yesterday, the day before,
You were just extra
during a
careful,
Mercury,
triple
extra
check.
careful. And I booked and gone on a holiday during a Mercury retrograde before, and like we booked it during one Mercury retrograde, and then like months later when we went on the holiday, it was a Mercury retrograde and everything was fine. But you just triple check
Everything, yeah.
everything. And like when you're sending emails, that you're sending it to the right person, you're CCing the right people, that you have the right thing attached and not like something that's for another department or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just like being extra cautious
I
basically
was
and
about to
thinking
say,
before you speak.
I sent an email to the wrong person. Thankfully, it was only to my partner. I was like,
So yeah, just be cautious, and like it's really don't want to fear monger it. It can be a really good time for reflection and to let things go and to figure out what you want to do next. And yeah, just don't be impulsive if you are being nostalgic and you are missing somebody. Like, are you missing the person or do you miss the feeling? Do you know what I mean? Because then you might regret. Usually, situations might be regretted if you do something impulsive
during
last
this.
minute during a Mercury retrograde. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Take your time, slow down, reflect, and triple check everything.
No rushing. Yeah. And like just on one more point. So one thing as well to note is that some people have been born themselves during a Mercury retrograde. Like obviously, because it happens so like 3 times a year, say, and you know, it
Hmm.
lasts for weeks. So like people are going to be born during that period. So they themselves, if you were born during a Mercury retrograde, you're that's kind of like your energy all the time. Not saying that you're like but it could be more that like you are very reflective with your
Yeah.
decisions, and you reflect a lot, maybe, and have to like go maybe by yourself and just think inwards about your decisions, or what you're going to say, or how you're going to deal with a certain
Mhm.
conversation. And like, it's quite common. I've done a lot of readings, and a couple of my friends have Mercury retrograde in their chart, and when I ask them this stuff, like sometimes they're like, oh, like I don't know, and then I'll see them do it in real time, but like they're so used to them doing that, they don't even realize that they're doing that.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? And then they're like, oh my God, you're right, I am doing that, you know?
yeah.
Um, so yeah.
Rachel, we have talked and talked. I love this. So, um, before we wrap up though, I would love for you to tell everyone, you know, your offerings. I mean, as I'm listening to you talk, I'm like, girl, you need to have like your own like online like Patreon or something where like you can come on and like talk about like where people, I think people would love that. Like I would love
Thank
that.
you.
Just
Thank
come, I know
you.
you do it on your TikTok, but I think something like would be really cool where you could like go in depth with like, okay, rising signs, this is how you're gonna feel this month. You know what I mean? It'd be really cool.
Yeah,
You
that
never
would be
know.
cool.
You never
You
know.
never know.
But tell everyone, we'll link your socials and stuff down in the description, but tell everyone where we can find you and what services you're offering.
Amazing. So yes, I'm on TikTok. I think my TikTok is Rach_O'Shea, and my Instagram is Rach_O'Shea 99. And yeah, I do in-depth astrology reading. So you need your exact time of birth. I will be very
Strict.
determined about that. And if you're giving me a rough time, I am going to be like, okay, where did you get that time? Did your mom just like roughly say that, or is it on your birth cert? Is it on a baby book? And the readings really do go in depth. I will be talking about, your strengths and weaknesses, like how you are as a person. And like, as well, when I'm doing readings, I always say, is there anything you don't want me to talk about? Because sometimes family or relationships or whatever, or even work, if they're just like maybe in a career break and they're like, that's too overwhelming for me right now, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Obviously, absolutely, that is like a boundary you have, and like I will not discuss anything you don't want to talk about, and everything is obviously completely private and confidential. And I always ask that before I start my readings, is there anything you want to talk about? Because then I don't want to be like, oh, like, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, because it's uplifting and encouraging, not, you know,
Yes.
the opposite. And yeah, the readings take about 2 hours, so they like maybe even 2.5. Sometimes it can't, like, some people's charts are that bit more like complex, so I might like, that might take that bit longer. Then I also do tarot readings, but astrology is very much my baby. Like, love
Oh.
her.
And
Um,
how can people book with you? Should they just message you on
yeah,
Instagram or?
just message me. And it's so funny, people are always like, oh, I hope I'm not bothering you. Like, I think it's because I'm not like, I don't have like a professional page or something, that people think that, but like I am doing them professionally. Very accessible as well. I don't want, sorry,
Would you make like an astrology page? For
maybe one day. Yeah, maybe. I think I'm gonna keep it on my personal account for a while.
yeah.
But yeah, maybe one day. But yeah, people are funny. They just think that I'm like, you're not bothering me ever. Like, don't ever be afraid to message me, even if you've already done a reading with me and you're like, oh, like it's been like 6 months since I did a reading with you. Like, what is going on for like Virgo risings right now, or Pisces risings, or whatever. Um, so yeah, just pop me a message on either Instagram or TikTok, and I will get back to you.
Amazing. Rachel, it's been so lovely to talk to you. Thank
Thank
you so much.
you.
Actually, I'm nearly forgetting. Before we go, at the end of every episode, I love to ask the guest what is like one piece of advice that they would like to give the listeners. It could be a piece of advice, it could be a quote, it could be something that you live by that you want to share.
Okay, good one. So, I think if you're feeling like, I think I said this on one of my TikToks, that if you're feeling like lost or indecisive in life, like you're not really sure what to do next, what path to go down, just to like sit back and like pause, like take some time out. Um, I think especially when we're at this age, like in our 20s, there's so much pressure to have everything figured out. Like that is such a big TikTok theme for like the girlies in their 20s as well. And or not even the girlies, like lads as well, obviously.
Mhm.
And I found that like taking like a step back is when like things usually like naturally unfold for you. You have to give yourself time. You can't force things, because that's like my astrology brain as well, where yeah,
Yeah, I
you
feel
just
that.
have, yeah,
Mm.
let it flow, like trust your intuition. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do, but like sometimes doing nothing is okay. Taking a gap year, like just taking some time out, like things, like someday you'll just wake up and you'll just know what to do. Sometimes you just have to, like, as cliche and cringy as it sounds, well, nothing
Mm.
is actually cringy. Um, is that you just have to find yourself. You just have to get a bit older, even if it's like a year older, 6 months
Yeah.
older. You have to give yourself time and grace. Like, be kind to yourself. Like, stop being so hard on yourself. Like, life is hard enough, you know?
Give yourself time and grace. I
Yeah.
love
Thank you.
Rachel, thank you so much. It's been an
Thank
absolute
you.
pleasure. Thank you for tuning into Cosmic Conversations. If you enjoyed this episode, then please let me know. Maybe consider leaving a 5-star review or a comment on what you thought. I'd love to hear suggestions and feedback on any topics you'd like me to explore or unpack, or maybe a guest that you'd like me to have on so I can pick their brain. If you have a cosmic confession or a dilemma that you'd like me to explore next week, then please send it my way on Instagram at Cosmic Conversations Pod, or email thecosmiccoach.ie@gmail.com. Thank you, and see you next week.